Good morning and welcome to Ray's Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying this beautiful Tuesday morning? On this platform, we're dedicated to amplifying the vibrant voices of the youth towards matters that concerns us all. And you best know if it's of great importance, we're definitely talking about it. It's my absolute pleasure to anchor today's segment. My name is Oluchi Precious Omenka, and of course, I've got the one and only God's Beauty Israel on the table with me. Good morning, Lady Vibe.
Blessed morning to you, Oluchi. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How have you been too?
Beautiful.
Missed you on the set yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday's discussion, let me even get your 2 cents about it.
Okay.
We're talking about this whole coalition party allegation flying everywhere, seeing how some significant leaders in PDP are moving camp. They're going to
ruling
APC
party,
and
abi?
everything. So Kiki and I were opening it up yesterday, and we're just bringing different angles to it. What do you think about the whole situation?
We've said it so many times in this table. Most of the times, it's not for the real reasons, right? If you look at it, first off, the party they are going to is not like it's a party that's just any party. It's a ruling party. So there's that mindset. First of all, there's that mindset of Nigerians that, see where they're on top, go one, go again, second tenor. Do you understand? We already have that established. So whether I like it or not, that's literally the mentality of a lot of Nigerians, right? With that mentality of their votes might not really count on this next one, given the kind of person that is on seat. Do you understand? So now that you now see people, leaving their party and going into the ruling party, I think it's also because of that established mindset that, with this person, going again, there's also that if this person rule, well, of course, it will benefit us as well. So it's more like telling that person that, you see this place every day, we know say nothing they really share for you. We are with you. Whatever plan, if you like, decide to fly, if you like, decide to go by, whatever, way you want to do this thing, we are with you. Do you understand? But of course, it doesn't come with that mindset of we're ready to serve. We are with you to serve the country. No, they are there because they also want to benefit. So each and every one of them that have left that PDP to this place is so that they would also get something. It's either they're looking for one seat that they are timing, probably in the House of Assembly, power from the House of Representatives, whatever, from wherever. Maybe, even down to the local government chairman. At least money go reach your hand small. Do you understand? So I don't really see this as that mindset of, oh, let's join this person to serve, given that, he has long-term goals. In quote.
True.
He has long-term goals that he intends to establish. So if we join this party, we would help with the goal. No. We know this country. Nobody does three things. Everybody has interior motives. So yeah, for whatever reason that they're leaving PDP to APC is because they have something that is beneath to understand. And with time, we would get to know what exactly it is. At least we know the certain persons that have left, PDP to APC. Let's watch out for the positions that they are positioned.
Sorry. So yesterday, I was just giving my own sense that if we are, as many people have claimed, are not, satisfied with the present administration and do not want them to run again, at this point, it's looking very tough because it's almost like, where are the opposition parties that can even stand up to them? LP is facing internal crisis. Kiki mentioned yesterday that to even get a chairman, we are facing internal crisis like that. It shows that whatever your output will be, will not have good impact. And then PDP is already looking weak because major influential figures are going to APC. So I'm not like, which opposition is going to stand up to this, people in 2027? Because it's almost like we are going to have this rerun, and that's for people who are not satisfied with the administration. Some are okay. It's not recently I was seeing some prominent figures as well coming out to say that they are okay with the administration of President Bola
They'll be okay
Tinubu
now,
and that he's doing a great work. One even mentioned that just give him time. He just entered. He has not done all he wants to do yet and everything. So I was saying yesterday that maybe if we start seeing coalitions of smaller groups instead, all these smaller parties. She mentioned some, I think APGA, NNPP, a number of them. They're just scattered.
They're a lot. They're quite 100, actually.
And we're always focusing on 2-2. 2023 made us focus on 3. How about we just gather these people? Maybe LP should now start using a strategic move to gather them together and start infiltrating that powerhouse gradually. Do you get it? Because at this point, it's almost like, let's just leave this 8 year for the 2020, for the APC people.
I feel like that's what has happened, actually. I feel like many people have actually come to that conclusion.
But
that,
looking ahead, if you want to bring them down, start with smaller.
Yeah, that's the thing. But again, starting with those, you know for sure that the election here in Nigeria, everything that has to do with, going on seats is a lot of money. So honestly speaking, most of these parties don't even have that money. That's why most of them are actually very calm. You don't hear about them. Do you understand? So assuming there is fund from somewhere, which of course, you know, it's never a genuine funding. You see that we are going around in circles in this country. Because really, if you
Yes,
say...
you're always so bold with your claim.
I know, it's
Lady Vibe, the
true.
bold
It's
girl.
true. I like to say things the way they are. You see, this year is not here to be hypocritical. Nah, I'll tell you the
Great.
way it is. Do you understand? So
When they hold
if
you
you
for
look
it,
at this small...
ensure that you bring out claims to support
You know what?
your boldness.
I'm done talking. Can we go on the break?
All right, but I mean, good points there, and we're going to open this up much more because today's conversation is also geared towards highlighting what's happening in the political space. Recently, we saw Senator Natasha Udwaga put out a written apology in a very satiric way, something of which God's really low, maybe because of the whole writing skill and everything. So today, we want to look at the whole apology that happens in politics, the dynamics, and what to learn from the whole story. Of course, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we're heading straight to the headline stories across the globe. So please stay with us. All right, welcome back. I think we deserve our flowers for always putting you on what's happening and trending in the society and making you up to date with certain facts. And that's what Today in History is all about. Remember, you're the main ingredient in all of our conversation. Love to hear your thoughts on this. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 0702500749 or 070142422420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, head on now to the official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune in to channel 145 on your Go TV, and do not miss this for anything. Now let's scan through the papers that's making wave this morning. We have the Punch, the Guardian, and of course the international papers. And God's beauty would lead this ship.
All right, straight into the New York Times newspaper. By the top left, we have Trump meeting is gleams for hope for Ukrainians. Top right, we have bracing for Trump's tariff both home and abroad. Middle of the newspaper, he chases a seat in Canada. China chases him. Beneath that, in this conclave, finding unity is rarely felt more divisive. Then the last headline on the newspaper, at the left bottom, we have Sisterhood of Apes keep males in line. The peace, not really. All right, so I want to quickly talk about this headline that says bracing for Trump tariffs, both home and abroad. So we know all the trade war that Trump started, right? How he, you know, to all other countries, he sent 10%, you know, to the goods that are imported to America, while to China, I think about 60% or so. So right now, you see that it's not just even a, you know, before you're talking about trade war from other countries with the United States. Right now, people in the United States are thinking of, you know, they are trying to come together to fight. So let me quickly read this. And it says, companies and even some United States are worried. They are already preparing to fight back, possibly by suing the government. Emphasis on suing the government. So you see that Trump, I see, like I said, I always like the idea that he comes with, but again, the way he goes about it, most of the times I think he goes about it the wrong way, right? Because then you say you are fighting for the United States and you want to ensure that every citizen in the United States are independent and they are able to, you know, produce their goods themselves. But if companies in the United States don't see that as a good thing, to the extent where they're thinking of suing you, then what exactly is the need for all of this in the first place? Do you understand? So I feel like this headline was something that we should really talk about, because, again, it's one thing for leaders to say, oh, they know really what to do to ensure that the citizens are okay and all. But have you really asked them what they want? That's the question. That's where transparency of all of these things, inclusion we've talked about, right? So like I said, it's one thing to say, oh, Nigerians have always complained about fuel. But have you spoken to them about what exactly do you think are the ways we should put, or the strategies to ensure that this fuel becomes cheap? It's not just wake up one morning and just think or assume that, oh, if we take out fuel subsidy, everything becomes normal. Because, again, I'm relating it back to Nigeria, because it's something that we are facing, not even we once faced. We don't face them already. Do you understand? So Trump came out and he says that, oh, he noticed that there are a lot of goods that are coming into the United States, and there are a lot, given that, they have much citizens there. It's just important that for each citizen they should wake up one morning and also start producing their goods, instead of having to always import. But now they see even the few companies, they are now the ones complaining, and they are now planning to sue the government. So there's really there's no need for all of the, thing of you want to help them and all. So yeah, that's my, 2 cents on the story. I just feel like any government official, or a president in court now, when you feel like there are certain things or there's certain initiatives that should be put on board, it's important that you also speak to the people themselves, so that you hear from the horse's mouth what exactly should be done. So that when you carry out certain things, you don't backfire, because right now that's what it is. Do you understand? If the citizens that you say you're helping or you're assisting, they don't see exactly what you are doing, then what is the need of you even doing it in the first place?
Very interesting story. And when you mentioned the whole suing the government, it just reminded me of the fact that when you're in the country for the free, nothing really just goes.
I mean,
you're going to answer for everything.
Yeah.
And it's a good one. Let's see what the Nigerian papers have. The Punch screams NNPCL under fire as $897 million Warri refinery revamp flops. The Warri refinery shutdown drags on since January 25. Port Harcourt refinery struggles at under 40% production capacity. Massive power outage ground strain internet in Spain, Portugal, and France. Alleged fraud, court orders businesswoman and Achimugu's appearance. Gender advocates hail death sentence for late Osinachi's husband. Obedient tackles Sanwo-Olu over attack on Peter Obi. Tension among Sunny Ade's children over music legends' whereabouts. Hurricane Tinubu, more governors will join APC, Ganduje boast. Diaspora voting, INEC pushes for constitutional amendment. And the last story reads, papal elections guided by Holy Spirit and not politics, says Archbishop. Of course, that's what we want. I mean, imagine if in the religious space, there's a lot of politics that are playing as well. Where is our salvation in that sense? But let's talk about the story that has been trending. Not exactly a very fun story, but it's a follow-up that many Nigerians have been itching, to get on. And that's about the late Osinachi. There are different claims that the husband was responsible for the death and everything. So after a lot of trial, I mean, the final verdict is that he's going to be dying by death by hanging. Now, let me read the story that I saw here. Peter Nwachukwu, that's the husband of late gospel singer Osinachi Nwachukwu, has been sentenced to death by hanging by the Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Wuse Zone 2, Abuja. Justice Njideka Nwosu Iheme delivered the judgment on Monday after dismissing the no-case submission. The court found him guilty of culpable homicide in connection with the death of his wife on April 8, 2022. That's 3 years coming. Nwachukwu, who was arraigned on June 3rd, faced a 23-count charge filed by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. The charges included culpable homicide, spousal battery, cruelty to children, and criminal intimidation. And during the trial, the prosecution called 17 witnesses, including 2 of the deceased children, and tendered 25 exhibits. The defendant testified in his defense and presented 4 additional witnesses and 4 exhibits. In her judgment, Justice Nwosu held that the prosecution had proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt. There's this part I wanted to really emphasize. It says also he received additional prison sentences ranging from 6 months to 3 years on several other counts and was fined a total of 700,000. and Osinachi passed away. That's all the story here. I mean, the ones that are very important to the conversation. Now, honestly, if you look at death sentences according to law, I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, I've watched some movies, read some stories, and it's a very long one. This is a proof of it. 2022 was when we lost the gospel singer Osinachi, and the claims just went everywhere that the husband was responsible. And I'm very glad that the law took its course to ensure that he actually did investigate the matter, at least based on what we're hearing. Because generally, when it comes to taking a man's life, even by law, whether the person is guilty or not, you have to really carry out your investigation, because if it goes south, it cannot be reversed. Once a man's life is gone, it's totally gone. And that's why sometimes it takes years. It takes years. They can be in prison, and then cases upon, court trials and everything. And again, one of the sentences or the capital punishment for, grievous crimes like this in Nigeria are usually death by hanging. We hardly see firing squad or electric chair where they sit down and all of that. Except in movies. Growing up, we used to watch all these Akpabio.
Done more in the Western country.
In the Western country. But for Nigeria, it's death by hanging. And trust me, that process also takes a long time, because they have access to different religious leaders trying to cleanse their soul before they meet their maker. And some Nigerians have had different comments to this, because people want to seek justice owing to the ground to which the whole story, is. I mean, there's not just the claim of him killing his wife, but several, battery and assault on even the children as well. So I have a lot of wonder. As much as the court has brought this capital punishment for this man, right, based on justice and everything, what's going to be done to the children? This brings me back to a conversation we had yesterday. The 10-year-old that was raped and had to go through an abortion. The parents, or the stepfather and the father, were punished. But the story doesn't always cover what happens to these victims that are left at the end of the day. Because honestly, if you do not solve victim problems, you're going to replicate a worse scenario in the society eventually. Because every man that you see today, the worst of men, actually have the background from their childhood. I did watch a story recently where a particular pedophile and rapist and killer was actually raped when he was younger. He had faced the worst of abuse when he was younger. That was the only reality he had, and he just had no choice but to replicate it in his society. That's a damaged person. Some of these victims face problems of being damaged. And imagine these children growing up in that household, seeing how that their parents are always fighting. Then the news carried that your dad is going to die because he supposedly killed the mother. I know there are different foundations that will come up to say, oh, we're taking care of them, the extended family. But I think as much as we go for capital punishment for the offenders, we should also go for capital rehabilitation for the victim. Else, we're not going to have the best of the whole story, because these ones that are alive, what's going to be done to ensure that these people fit well into the society? They're not going to be under any judgment of stigmatization or any of that. They're going to grow sanely. It's a long shot, but if we're intentional about it, just very aware about the punishment, I think the focus should now be on these children. So what do you have to say about the whole story?
I feel like when we talk about people's mental health and all of that, in the older generations, I don't think they really understand the impact of that. Do you understand? And that's why, unfortunately, we see a whole lot of these people that feel like it's okay to beat their wife, because they feel like that's how to correct her. That's the language we understand. Because, again, they have gotten that from their parents. They actually have gotten that from their parents as well. And that, because that's how it goes. I mean, I would like to say that it's probably our generation that have a bit more of that, speaking, that awareness, that, oh, things like this, things like this, we are supposed to be taking care of them and all. Just like you said, the normal traditional newspaper will only give us updates and tell us what's going on. They would not go down to telling us what exactly happened to the children. Are they, taken to a rehabilitation center for them to be mentally taken care of and all of that? They will not, right? Because I feel like with time, we'll probably have all of those clauses, fill in, right? But honestly speaking, to emphasize more, I feel like like I said, it's something that we started having the conversation now. The awareness that, start creating it now, right? And I feel like with time, it will probably get better. Now, there's this movie that trended on Netflix. I don't know if you've watched it. Adolescence.
Yes, I did.
That's a very good scenario. If you watch the whole, it's just 1 to 4 episodes, right, for season 1. If you watch it, you understand exactly what's going on with teenagers, right? So this guy in question is 13-year-old. Even when the father was asking him, oh, did you really stab this girl? Did you really kill this girl? He was like, no. Even me, God, I believed him at first. I'm like, why are they stress this PK? Allow him be. Until we watched that video where he stabbed the girl 7 times, right? And when I got that, I'm like, how? A 13-year-old, what exactly is going on? Not until I watched the last episode, which is the episode 4. That's when I understand where exactly he got it from. His father. The father in question that was telling him, did you kill this girl, is the one that gets angry off and cold almost every time. Do you understand? So honestly speaking, for us to even start copying this, each and every one of us actually need therapy. I'm not even going to lie. Yes, because if you look at the trajectory, you'll see that even our parents at some point, they too are mentally damaged. Because if you look at that movie very well, you'll see that the man in question doesn't even know that he's not mentally okay. There was a part where he was talking to the wife, where he was saying, we did everything well. The wife was saying, oh, we took care of this boy. We ensured that he's following the right step and all. But it's not just only about you teaching him. It's your actions. Yeah. Do you understand? Because if you look at that man very well, even when they had that whole paint thing with his boss, it's simple to say, oh, honey, please, will you follow me to this supermarket for me to get the paint back? Instead, he was shouting at them, like, how? And you think that your son will not do the same thing?
And even worse.
Exactly. And you can, from the movie, you can see exactly what he has done. So, honestly speaking, each and every one of us honestly needs therapy. Let me even start with that. Because when we start taking care of our mental health, we'll be able to produce children that will be able to have stable mental health.
Yes, and then it continues going. So, yes. We've seen the capital punishment, amazing, but I'm really more concerned about foster care for these children that are left without their parents. Let's see what The Guardian has to say very briefly before we move on to the hot topic for today. Institutional fees. 51 varsities and others embroiled in illegal deduction from student loans. The extra charges institutions make on each net fund application. The Guardian has the breakdown, but I'm going to just move over that. Court orders Aisha Achimugu to honor EFCC's invitation. Custom receives 6 cargo scanners, target 67 in 20 years. 2027, INEC seeks law to strip president of power to appoint REC. El Rufai Lukman maintain opposition as APC receives Oberovri and Okowa. Husband of late gospel singer Osinachi sentenced to death by hanging. JAMB Peter Obi bicker over early exam schedules. Ohaneze urges Tinubu to accept peace move by pro-Biafra agitators. The last story here reads, alleged $1 billion fraud. Suspected CBEX promoter surrenders to EFCC. I'm still shocked that we're having stories on this CBEX, but I hope this is a lesson for Nigerians. But let's talk about this whole varsity thing. You know me, anything that has to do with the institution, educational institution in Nigeria, I'm going to talk about it. When this student loan stuff came out, right, people criticized it. They felt like, oh, this initiative from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not even going to really help students as much. But even if we criticize it, I know people that have benefited greatly from it. I mean, there was someone that was like, she was speaking to me one day, she said, God bless this president. I mean, she gets constant alerts on her phone monthly because of the whole student loan process. So it did work. At first, we were critical. We're always critical as Nigerians.
No, I don't think that's where the problem is. I think the problem is the fact that honestly, if you're not giving me this good feedback now that, oh, there's somebody that will benefit from this.
You were not sure of people
exactly of people ahead. That's where the problem is.
Now, let me tell you where the problem in that is even more. It says no fewer than 51 institutions have been fingered in illegal deduction and attendant exploitation of the Nigerian scheme. So the Guardian learned that the errant institutions make between 3,500 and 30,000 naira of each student's institutional fee that was submitted and received from NELFON. So you see, yes, there's a problem of transparency and accountability. but it's not exactly always from the top. I will always make mention of things that should be spread across.
Right.
Now, the problem was, oh, are we sure the students are getting the money? The students are getting it. But going down the whole hierarchy of how the money flows to the student shows that about 3,500 to 30,000 is deducted. Why? From people who are in the internal affairs, sending this money and everything. And I like that the Guardian has highlighted it because institutions need not soil their name anymore. I mean, student loan is really for people that are incapacitated in some way. Maybe they've lost their parent, they're not able to meet up. The money is not even enough. So for you to now still be deducting 3,500 to 30,000, it's just pure greed. It's just a lot of greed. And it's not even fair at all. So I'm glad that this has been highlighted, and these schools that have been accused of transparency and this whole disbursement problem should come out to rectify it. I mean, there are some schools here that have been called out, but I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it because let's not drag it more than this. But this shows the institutional problems that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, if money at century, we already even suspected it, that once money starts flowing,
we know this
different figures will take their own share. As per, why should I just give you like that? How much is even the money that you're taking your share? When I'm repaying that loan, will you help me to repay it? It's really sad, but that's all the story for The Guardian, The Punch, and the international paper. And if any of them catches your interest, you can still go to their website, read more of the story, and let us know your 2 cents on this issue. So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we're going straight to the topic of today. Senator Natasha and Akpabio, apology and forgiveness in politics. Let's see how it goes. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back, people. Thank you for sticking with us. This is Ways Breakfast, hashtag What Are You Saying? The youthful breakfast show that open up matter that concerns us. Today's topic is on Senator Natasha and Akpabio, the apology and forgiveness in politics. Now, recently, suspended Senator Natasha Akpabio of Kogi Central stirred the political waters with a biting satirical letter directed at Senate President Godswill Akpabio. In the open letter, she mockingly apologized for the grievous crime of maintaining dignity and self-respect in Akpabio's presence. Akpoti-Uduaha letter shared on her official media platforms was laced with sarcasm, suggesting that success in the Senate under Akpabio's leadership seems to depend not on merit but on compliance with personal demands, and she alleged that her refusal to give in to inappropriate sexual advances from Akpabio contributed to her suspension, highlighting systemic sexism and entitlement within the legislative chambers. The letter has since gone viral, sparking widespread discussion about gender dynamics, power struggles, and the challenges faced by women in leadership roles in Nigerian politics. So today, God's Beauty and I want to see what this letter is all about. And I think for God's Beauty, she's more concerned about the creative...
It was shady, baby.
I'm trying to see how to get this letter. I honestly thought I had the letter before now.
Okay,
but do you have the letter with you?
Yes.
Please,
just give me
kindly
the
read the letter for us in your
Away.
creative flow.
This is even hard to get.
Can you see the letter? Okay, maybe we'll come back to the letter. Let's just start the whole conversation firstly. What do you think prompted her to issue this particular letter? I've heard different comments. I don't know if it was requested that she issue an apology, or if it was just her trying to bypass the whole suspension and find her way back to the Senate. So she felt like, oh, maybe a letter would help. What's the whole context to this letter, and why do we see it causing a lot of rave?
So I think what we can do is actually assume, because again, we are not her.
Yes.
You get? So you cannot say exactly why she actually, you know, dropped a very shady, sarcastic. Oh Lord, honestly speaking, permit me, I love it so much. Because again, okay, coming back to the question, right? I feel like probably one of the reasons why she dropped it was because I think just last week or so I was thinking about the case and I'm like, we've not heard anything from, you know, the story. You know, we know she went to where's that place again? Is it the Union? Can't remember. But I know she went there to have the conversation and all of that. And we didn't hear any update on that. I think there was a time around where they said they called Akpabio for them to have a conversation or so, and we don't know. I mean, there's no follow-up, you know, no newspaper, no traditional, you know, TV carried it. So we're not sure what exactly went down, you know, from that story. Like I said, it was just last week I was thinking about it. So when I saw this, you know, from Wally yesterday, I'm like, okay, amazing, amazing. I like it because, again, if you remember the time where...
Why do you like it?
I like it because, again, it shows that, first, she's bold. It shows that you cannot actually step on a tiger's tail and you think you'll go scot-free. Do you understand? It gives that energy. It gives
fire for fire.
It gives that I hear you, but I'm so sorry, I will speak up regardless. Do you understand? So yeah, I wanted to say something. You know, if you remember, there was this time where, I mean, before she left the Senate for her suspension and all, you remember I mean, many of the senators, they were telling her that, oh, if you want, you know, Akpabio, if you don't want to go for this suspension and all you just need to do is apologize and all. So I just felt like maybe she wanted to just put an apology out there and all, but again, that apology is not apology because, I mean, even the start of the way she started it with my deepest
I've gotten the letter now, so I want to read it.
Like, nah.
I want to read it for us to understand it, and let's dissect it. You know,
right.
I was watching something recently. I've been watching a lot of conspiracy theory movies. I don't know what's wrong with my head. This not me to watch romance movie like my age range.
Don't
it's almost like I shouldn't watch it.
Yeah. Actually, K-drama. I'm so sorry, but yeah.
Let's not move away from the conversation. It's almost like in every letter or any political public affront, right? There's a hidden message in everything. So this particular criminal was giving a message, a video message out there, and you know, these FBI agents were dissecting everything. That is what the public were seeing was not what these trained, you know, specialists were seeing. They were seeing something different.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's any trained specialists amongst our viewers that can see something different in this letter. So it says here, Dear distinguished Senate President Godswill Akpabio, it is with the deepest sarcasm and utmost theatrical regret that I tendered this apology for the grievous crime of possessing dignity and self-respect in your most exalted presence. I have reflected extensively on my unforgivable failure to recognize that legislative success in certain quarters is apparently not earned through merit, but through the ancient art of compliance of the very personal kind. She says, how remiss of me not to understand that my refusal to indulge your request was not merely a personal choice, but a constitutional violation of the unwritten laws of certain men's entitlement. Truly, I must apologize for prioritizing competence over capitulation, vision over vanity, and the people's mandate over private dinners behind closed doors. I now realize the catastrophic consequences of my action, legislation delayed, tempers fled, and the tragic bruising of egos so large that they require their own postcode. For this disruption to the natural order of quid pro quo, I bow my head in fictional shame. Human's heart buried deep beneath layers of entitlement.
Emphasis.
To forgive this stubborn woman who mistakenly believed that her seat in the Senate was earned through elections and not erections.
Can we take that back again?
Maybe you should say it. She says, I remain yours in eternal resistance, Senator Natasha H. Akpoti-Uduaghan, unafraid, unbought, and unbroken.
Simple.
Do you know I actually didn't read this letter to the end?
You didn't read it?
Yesterday, I didn't read it to the very end. I just saw like, when we get to the show, we'll see.
It's the last paragraph for me.
This shows a lot of bold move. And
honestly,
this is going to cause small triggers than we have already seen. No, first off, when I first heard that she gave an apology letter, my head assumed quickly that, oh, is she backing down already?
No,
If that's the case, it shows that many women that are going to face problems like this again, they're not going to be taken seriously, because if you had such heavy claims, why will you now back down with this apology? But now, seeing the fact that it's not exactly an apology, this letter isn't an apology. This letter is pinching the Senate president in ways he was not even expecting. This is still coming out to the public in a very indirect way to say, I'm not backing down from this claim. Because in this letter are still heavy claims. You are saying that your seat, you earned it through elections and not elections, still playing hold on the whole sexual allegation and assault story. So this is almost not, it's not an apology letter. And I'm wondering if it was really necessary to put out this letter like this out in the public. How do you think the public should perceive a letter like this in an unbiased way?
Again, I see, like I said, we are not in our head. I just hope that, you know, one or two of those
what's the implication? What's the implication of this letter? How do you think this will escalate the whole story beyond what we have seen? Because the truth is that she just made a literary situation of the whole story. You came out before to say this allegation happened, so and so, went to court, different things, they went to different international bodies, and it's almost like they were back and forth. We don't know how much of, you know, comment the Senate president had given. Now this is you now revisiting the story in a literary way, almost like we're in a storybook, we're reading some fictional things that happens in politics that maybe it's not real life. So what is now going to be the implication of this? Do you think this will open up this matter more? Or is it going to close it and brush it? Or is it going to heighten her punishment beyond the suspension that she's already facing?
So again, I don't think it might heighten it if probably the person that she's sending the letter to understands it. Because I remember having a conversation with someone, and I said, even when I say certain things very, you know, in sarcasm and all of that, many people don't get it. And according to this person, they are daft. Or, coming back to the conversation,
it says it takes intelligent people to understand
sarcasm. So yeah, exactly what I said. So that's why I said to some extent it is an apology. So it depends on from what angle you intend to, you know, look at it. But coming back to it, right, I feel like, again, like I said, just last week I was thinking about it, that, oh, this matter, we're not hearing anything about it. So I feel like probably one of the reasons why she actually put this letter out is to let people know that she's still on it. You understand? She's not sleeping. Fingers crossed, you know, she's still there. She's still ensuring that people must hear her. You know, she's not backing down anytime soon. Well, yeah, but again, right, I mean, we've not heard anything from her apart from this, you know, this apology letter. So I just wish that she would give us the updates about why exactly she actually put this out. Honestly speaking, I can't wait for that.
Let me tell you what I think. I think that, I know people are going to see this differently, but
sorrow now.
The implication of this is beyond, oh, yes, she's still fighting for her right and everything.
So you think...
Wait, a lot of critics have come out to say that your allegations are heavy.
Yeah.
They are not dismissible, right? There is a possibility that this could actually have happened.
Yes.
But with the way laws and order works in our nation, it's funny because you're not just accusing your receptionist, right, or your driver. You're accusing someone who is at the helm of this law and order already, the Senate President number 3 in the country. So it's expected that if you're coming out to do this, you are coming prepared for whatever, you know, criticisms or counter-attacks are going to come. And we were thinking that with the whole pause, with the whole setbacks, with the whole waiting and everything, you're going to come out and give us more proofs or something to ensure that this actually gets the justice or the waving off that it deserves. So coming out to do a theatrical display of the whole matter is what is making me feel like Nigerians are just going to buzz about this because we are good with buzzing about matters. I mean, people who are creatives like you just see something very beautiful and like, let's hashtag this, let's make this trend. But is that really what you want to get you the justice that you claim you deserve? Because this whole claim, you've taken this to, is it the European Union, to different international bodies. You've defied a lot of laws and orders. They told you not to travel or something. You had to use
your senator.
Exactly. Everything, a lot of things have happened to this story. People don't even know the side to pick. And that's because we've not seen enough proof, enough credible evidence as the law would require. So I felt like, you know, going back or being silent about the issue for a while was to re-strategize and come back up. So whoever gave her this advice of put out a theatrical letter out there, you are only going to be instigating more problems and more agitations from people. And the best you can get from this is a buzz from the crowd, because Nigerians and the social media and the internet like buzzwords like this. I mean, the letter seems so sweet to read. So let us stop saying that it's an apology letter. It's beyond apology. This is still making an allegation. This is still going back to ground zero. This is almost like when she just started accusing the Senate president that, oh, you did this to me. This way, she has just decided to do it in another way so that the story does not leave the minds of Nigerians. Because at a point, I think different Nigerians had moved on from the story.
That's exactly what
when
I
the story
said,
came out at first, we're all, hey, we must see how this gets to the end. But when we were saying that this is not giving light, we are not seeing the realest updates, the up-to-date update in that sense. We got, tired of the whole thing. So I think bringing this letter was just to, appeal to the emotions of Nigeria and not necessarily to get the justice that you deserve. Because at this point, I feel like that's what some of these people do. I mean, you want to get, justice. You don't have all the evidence that you want. So the next thing that you can think of doing is to appeal to the emotions of Nigerians who maybe make this trend and everything. So let me ask you, what do you think is going on now in the mind of the Senate and the Senate president? I'm asking this as if you're his sister, but let's imagine. How do you think this can be perceived from him, and what should we start looking out for?
I feel like he has always been that person that really cares less about what's going on. I mean, that's how I perceive his personality, right? So I mean, he'll probably just read this and laugh and probably just take out his glasses and say, Natasha again, can we move on, please? So yeah, I feel like that's what his response would be to that later. But honestly, I feel like I'm actually in agreement with you on this one, because we need evidence at this point. We are done with having to go back and forth. I like the fact that
our emotions. We are done with that buzz and fuzz.
Let's get they appeal to emotion.
But you were excited when you saw the letter, because you're like,
as a writer, I am.
A bold woman has come out again.
But again, it takes us back to how the justice system works here in Nigeria. Without evidence, you're literally just blabbing or capping. Do you understand? Yapping. You're in a messian. But you hear me. So we need evidence at this point. And I don't know, to some extent, I'm actually now questioning, are you even sure she has it? Because I feel like if she does have the evidence that we need,
we'll probably have
seen it by now. Do you get? We'll probably have seen it by now. So I don't know.
Now, let me tell you, say this. So recently, I was watching this particular podcast of a known and renowned media personality that came out vulnerably to say that she was once sexually harassed by a prominent figure in that media space as well. I felt like, oh, this is bold. I mean, anybody that comes out generally to say that they've been harassed, it's a bold thing, because you are succumbing yourself to social stigmatization that you can't run away from. So, she came out to say all of this, and the reason why she said that she doesn't want to point out that figure out is because this person is already prominent, and again, he has now grown in prominence, because I think the thing happened 6 years ago. At this time, the person was already so popular. Guess my detective mind, I was trying to think, who was not popular 6 years ago? That is now popular now. And that just shows you how sexual allegations are now being put out in the public. Before, we're not seeing a lot of bold people come out to talk about their experiences. I've seen another media personality that came out boldly to say how she was raped and everything. And it's like, oh, what's really happening in this space? Both in politics, both in different industries and sectors. But I'm now looking at Senator Natasha as the prototype, as the leader of coming out to make such claims. Do you think the way she has gone about this whole issue, this whole claims and allegation, is going to provide good landing for other people who probably have genuine or ingenuine, allegations to come? How do you think it's going to affect, sexual allegations, stories in the coming future, based on how this particular woman in leadership position has carried her out? So
if this Natasha story ends well, and we see that she gets the victory that she deserves,
with this back and forth and running in circles.
It's an if. We are assuming. Do you understand? So if, eventually things like that turn out well and all of that, people will, of course, speak out and all. But I feel like with the little that she has done, there are already women that feel like it's okay to talk about certain things. Even down to Bam Bam. We had, I mean, if you watch her story where she was saying so many things, and there are a lot of them, you know, that's come out to say, oh, when you're in this industry, so people will tell you that come to my bed to come and do certain things. Oh, I want you to that particular scene that you're not getting, or that particular character. Come to the bedroom. I can teach you how to, you know, absorb that character or be that character in. There are a lot of stories.
Yeah, that's a funny one.
I'm not joking.
Absorb the character. Wow.
You didn't want
characterization.
You don't know, man. The things that come out of that gender mouth, I mean, there are a lot. But honestly speaking, if we are able to see, like, it's one thing, I mean, you see now that women are bold enough to come out and say their problems and all. But really, that's not, I mean, we like that step. But at the same time, we also want to be able to nail certain men then down and say, okay, these men have done this. Now, this is their, you know, their penalty for all of this.
Now, let me give you one very amazing comment from a viewer here.
Okay. That's why you're laughing at this.
I would laugh because I like it when people, you know, come up with things like this. So that song, I think I hope I pronounced that word. It says, I respect Senator Natasha, just like everyone. I'm not sure you're the only one. It says, you people don't understand sexual abuse. You're both chatting rubbish. I don't know if that song is man or woman. But to say we're chatting rubbish is a bit overboard. But let's try to make Slur Song understand my point of view, and maybe you can try as well. Nobody is dismissing Senator Natasha's claim necessarily, because it's a very important one, and for you to come out boldly to say this is something that we are eager as Nigerians to want to get to the root of the whole issue. But what we have seen recently is just fuzz and buzz about the matter, and not necessarily evidence that can make this get, you know, the justice that it deserves. So the only thing I've always had about this particular story from the very beginning is to see how that justice is actually met. And this is not just a story that gets Nigerians excited. I'm not one to totally be thrown away by one emotional outburst on social media. Don't play with my emotions, because I feel like it will be injustice and very unfair. Now, I'm following up a story like this, and at the end of the day, there's one power tussle somewhere. There's one political ambition, or there's one conspiracy theory somewhere.
Right.
That would be playing on our intelligence and making us seem like foolish people, pawns that are just being joked with in the society. So the whole essence of stepping down, not hearing any buzz or fuss about the story, was for us to have a comeback that actually makes sense, and not a comeback that goes back to ground zero.
Right.
Because this apology letter gives two faces. It's almost like, oh, it's still an apology, right? Maybe I want to get back into the Senate, and I still want to do my duties to the Kogi Central and everything, but I'm not backing down yet. We get it. But what's being done to ensure that this story gets the light of day? That's just my own, you know, I'm not trying to be the person that is not for human rights, or, oh, are you not a woman? Why shouldn't you understand sexual abuse? It feels like at this point in our society, anybody that comes out to say I was abused, we are like, yes, you were abused. Who is this person? We don't even get to know the evidence. We're taking this person down. Of course, we'll have that emotional, you know, reaction, because we've seen it happen over time. I just told you stories of 2 media personalities that came out to publicly say this, and they couldn't even get the justice done because they understand the process. Who knows, maybe the reason why she doesn't want to expose, I'm referring to that media personality now, is because she probably doesn't have enough evidence that can bring this to light. She only has her word against it, and we know how that doesn't play in the justice system, no matter how warped we might want to, you know, put the justice system in. So at this point in time, I don't need another emotional outburst on social media. I need fact. I need this to be put to book. I need people to really look critically into the matter and ensure that whoever is guilty serves their time. And I mean serving their time in prison or, you know, through other means. But that's what I think the Nigerian society deserves. A lot of people play on our emotions a lot of time, and we just we just vibe on these things, get excited, retweet it. I mean, recently with this particular letter, there were some retweets on Twitter and Instagram. Everybody's just getting excited about this. Okay, we get you. You've said this before. This is just looking more creative and literary. What is going to be done next? How do you think this is going to put other people who are in danger of sexual assault? How do you think they also want to come out? Will they start taking your approach of writing letters now? Will they start taking your method of satire to attend to their matter? So all of this is just a question I have in mind. And we're not trying to play down on sexual abuse. Never. Sexual abuse is heinous crime. And people who are, offenders of this should be brought to book and serve their time. So we're not going to be on the side of the sexual abusers and say, oh, don't punish them. Of course, they will be brought to book and they'll serve their time. And I think that's just my comment for a wonderful viewer. But we'll have to take this other question because we'll be wrapping up the show very quickly. Let's look at satire now, away from the whole sexual abuse story. How do you think, because one thing I got from you and this whole letter is that you love the satiric display of, questioning injustice. And that seems like maybe this is something that people can do now and nobody is necessarily going to hold them. We have seen how that some broadcast journalists or, private reporters, they have problems with putting out their work out there because people are going to hold them for it. There's always this fear and carefulness in not wanting to hold people like, oh, you did this, but I have to be careful in telling the public that you did it. But this satire almost gives us, another way to which we can hold people accountable. And if you check different industries, I think I was able to come up with some facts about how satire has brought about change in Nigeria. There was this time Fela Kuti had to use Afrobeat, in a satiric way to talk about politics, right? And I think there are other examples of Elton John. He used satire in his writings as well. Lasisi Elenu, he uses skits in mocking government services. That's an example of satire. And in fact, I think some other skit makers these days, they use different ways to play light on the situation, but they are trying to pass a message. So do you think this is the way forward to actually still hold public figures accountable while still being safe in a way?
I would have said there's a way forward, but I'm so sorry. Just like the way I told you, the person that I was saying to say, many people are that they will not get it. Do you understand? Because I remember there's even this lady, because first off, she already let you know that she's trying to be sarcastic here. And all of those election and erection, my guy, why would you not get it? I mean, you can love with that. But coming back to it, right? There's this journalist. I'm trying to remember her name. She's the most sarcastic journalist I have met before. I am not going to lie. I don't know why her name is not coming to head. Just last year, let me give you, for people that get it, if you don't get it, we'll keep it moving. Now, remember last year where we have someone came out with uniform, right? Even with the whole hardship that we have in Nigeria, the person felt like it's important for Nigerians to have a uniform to celebrate a particular day, right? And while she was talking about it, this lady in question, she was like, wow, very thoughtful. This is how you know a thoughtful leader. In this country where there's poverty, people are hungry, there's fuel scarcity and of all the things to do is to bring uniform. Beautiful. I like, see, all the Nigerians now, we have a uniform. Just post an information. If you get it, you get it. Do you understand? Because really...
So that means you're not leaving it at the chance of
people to... Yes. Because again, for every time that you come up to say...
not tell you, I will close my eyes from getting this.
That's the problem.
You want to be creative. Be creative with your writing.
Do you understand?
Get it.
That's
there will be no action. There will be no solution. So is this really the way forward? I think satire just makes us feel relaxed with the whole situation and just find joy or happiness or vibe.
But which will you prefer?
But it doesn't bring about a solution in my own
understanding. Even when you come out and say the things that you say, the least they will do is to chase you and you go and stay in another person's country. Let's be for real. You go stay in another person's country to eternity, right? Then at the end of the day, has that particular message been passed? They hear it, but did they do anything to it? Was any action done? No. It's not today we're talking about fuel scarcity. Neither will it be tomorrow. So it's either you use your head and think about how you pass the information and be safe. What do you think allegedly everybody's allegedly up and down? No, let's be for real. Before they give you 500 million naira that you cannot pay for.
Allegedly. Please, the sexual abuse story is alleged as well. Allegedly from Senator Akpabio, Senate President Akpabio. Yeah, so let's continue.
You have to be careful. Because again, you have to know the kind of country you're in. Was it not on Friday we're having the whole digital issue, the digital tools and digital governance, we're talking about it, right? It's one thing to have the right people in power. See, when we have the right people in power, so many things will go smooth. That's when you know that any nonsense that you have to say will make sense. But right now, every nonsense that you are saying is nonsense. Do you understand? They won't listen to you. But every time that you have some, how many times we hear they talk, we'll talk about the things, we'll talk about how bad the economy is. What has changed? So you want to also add to the problem. My sister, the least you can do is to travel to Ghana and you stay there.
All right.
And everything bad will still keep happening.
Okay.
Nothing will
change. We have to wrap up the conversation.
Come on.
So we've seen the apology letter, the fuss, the buzz, the emotional reaction. We want to see the end of this particular matter beyond the fuss and the buzz. And my own comment about sarcasm generally in putting leaders accountable is that it's a two-edged sword, really. It can get you the accountability you want or maybe the information. Many times we see how it can be swept under the carpet and people just use it as a coping mechanism to laugh out a particular dire situation. And this is where we wrap up today's segment. Thank you to everyone who commented. We want to see you again tomorrow. And until the rest of this week, this is Ways Breakfast. Catch you again tomorrow by 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?